Live from Lane Gymnasium, Lane Tech Girls Volleyball is on the air. The final of 3 straight days of matches for Lane Tech. This time they have the Von Steuben Panthers inside Lane Gymnasium as Lane Tech looks to get back to 500 on the air. They're looking for their 10th win of the season. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alex Burstein above the midcourt line here at Lane Gymnasium for what should be a fun one this evening between Lane Tech and Von Steuben. Lane Tech comes into tonight's game with a 3-2 record in conference play. Von Steuben with 2-3 record, but Von has been in every single game they have played in conference play, and based on max reps, Von Steuben has only played in conference games this year. Not sure if that's an error or not, but in all 5 of their conference games, they have gone to 3 sets. They pulled out 2 of them. They lost in the 3rd set in 3 of them, but this Von Steuben Panthers team is very competitive. They can have some very high highs at times, according to their head coach, and if they can have a really good night here tonight, Lane Tech could be on upset watch here on night number 6 of conference play in the Chicago Super League. We will take you down to the court here with just about 4.5 minutes to go in the Von Steuben warm-up. Lane Tech took the court about a couple of minutes ago for their warm-up and finished up. It is Teacher Appreciation Night here at Lane Gymnasium, so the start is going to be delayed a bit as there's going to be an on-court ceremony. We're going to send our audio down to the PA announcer during that, so you guys will hopefully be able to listen to the ceremony pregame, and then we'll be able to get into some actual game action. As we mentioned, Lane Tech looking to get that win number 10 on the season. That would give them a double-digit win record for the first time this year, and also they'd get back to 500. Lane Tech has bounced around the 500 range, and then they've been below it for a little while now. They've been below the 500, but they won on Tuesday, they won on Wednesday, and now a win here tonight would get them to that 500 mark. Von Steuben's going to be without their head coach tonight, Eli Estrada. He is out, and they're going to have an interim head coach just for this game, Coach Jordy. So we'll see how that coaching change affects the Panthers for tonight's game. So that's the most notable absence for the Panthers. Lane Tech, meanwhile, has a pretty notable absence of their own, that being their libero. Their libero, Heidi Stauber. Stauber just reached the 100 dig mark last night. She's been the leader in receptions for Lane Tech, has had a really impressive season so far, but she is out for tonight's game. So instead, it's going to be the junior, Sarah Thompson, who's been playing most all this year as a defensive specialist, also as a server for Lane Tech. She will take over as the libero for tonight's game while staying in the serve order. Speaking of the serve order, we will take you through that as well as the starting lineup for Lane Tech here this evening at Lane Gymnasium. The serve order, per usual, will be led off by the junior Catherine Hong. Got her 33rd her 33rd ace of the year last night, leading the team in that category. She'll lead things off. Claire Anderson in the 2 spot. Kinsey Copenhaver in the 3 spot, Addison Stoner in the 4 spot, and closing it out will be Maddie Gavelin in the 5 spot, and Sarah Thompson, who we just mentioned, in that 6 spot, who will be taking over the libero jersey for tonight's game. As for the starters for Lane Tech in the front row, not sure who won the toss and who's going to be receiving or serving, but these are the original starting 6 for Lane Tech, plus Thompson. It'll be Amina Ahmad in the front left side of the court. Next to her in the middle will be Kinsey Copenhaver, and to her right will be Claire Anderson, who had an excellent night last night against Regina. Started a little slow, but ended the night with 7 kills to lead the team. She's looking back to normal after a couple of quiet games and a couple of missed games due to injury, but she's back and she is looking as good as she has this season. So we'll see what Anderson can do here tonight. In the back row, starting from the left-hand side, it'll be number 22, Olivia Crane, in the back left corner. He's the team's leader in kills and has been really impressive as an outside hitter this season. In the middle will be Brooke Anderson, the team's leader in blocks, but she's also been getting in on the kill game the last couple of matches, and she has been very impressive. And then next to Brooke Anderson on the right-hand side in the back row will be Catherine Hong, who, as we mentioned, has just been so impressive this year as a server, and she's been one of the leaders in assists as well. Just very impressive recent play from Hong, and she will look to continue that tonight against this Von Steuben Panthers team Lane Sack has had a lot of success against this Panthers team as of recent. In the last 10 matches, just 2 wins for Von Steuben. The last win came in 2019. That was a 2-set victory for the Panthers on September 12th, 2019. But since then, it has been 4 straight losses for the Panthers. And in that time, they have not won a set. 2-0 wins for Lane Sack in September 2019. The second matchup those teams had that year in April 2021, September 2021, and then again last September 2021. These two teams play each other a lot, and that's actually going to be on full display this week. This is the first meeting between these two teams, but they're going to be playing again in about 48 hours. It's probably less than 48 hours by now at the Northside Invitational, where these two teams will square off. A very busy week for Lane Sack. As we mentioned, they have 3 straight games here. This is the conclusion of 3 straight games in 3 straight days, and then they'll get back to play on Saturday with 5 games at the Invitational. We're going to send it down to the court in just a second here for possibly the national anthem, as well as honoring the teachers here in attendance, and we'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Sack Girls Volleyball here on the Lane Sack Athletics YouTube channel. And there you have it, a nice ceremony here at Lane Gymnasium honoring the teachers here on Teacher Appreciation Night. A bunch of teachers honored on the court by players. And with that, it is almost time for action here at Lane Gymnasium. Apologies, we know the mic is not the best here for the PA announcing system, especially when it's going through another mic for our feed. So hopefully you were able to at least catch part of that ceremony here from Lane Gymnasium. They are probably going to do the starting lineups on the court, but then it is going to be time for first serve. We already took you through the Lane Tech starting lineup. We did not get the Von Steuben lineup, but we will see that in a second as they line up on the court. For those of you just joining us, the starters for Lane Tech tonight will be Amina Ahmad, Kinsey Copenhaver, and Claire Anderson going from left to right in the front row, and in the back row it'll be Olivia Crane, Brooke Anderson, and Catherine Hong going from left to right. The libero for Lane Tech tonight will be Sarah Thompson. We don't know if she's going to be on the court first or not. We will see that in a couple of seconds. She is starting over Heidi Stauber, who is out for tonight's game, as both the players run on the court. And looks like we actually might not be doing starting lineups here, so we should have action. Looks like just about starting now here, as the players for both teams come on the court. And now we will get our first glance at who's going to be starting for the Panthers. Looks like it's going to be number 8, Jacqueline Messina, to go along with number 10, Rachel Kayanen. Number 11, Sophia Bush, who's one of these star outside hitters on this team. Looks like in the back row we'll see number 35, Madalena Avila, number 24, Cadest Emmanuel, and missing one player here. Looks like that's going to be number 26, Jane McGannon. So those will be your 6 on the court to start things off this evening for the Von Steuben Panthers. Going to be about a 6:22, 6:23 first serve here from Lane Gymnasium. It was originally slotted for a 6 p.m. start, however, with the JV game going a little bit late, and then the ceremony, we're just getting started a little bit late here from Lane Gymnasium. But Lane Tech obviously hoping they can make quick work of this Von Steuben team. But as we mentioned in our opening, this Von Steuben team has gone to 3 sets in every single match they have played this year. That's through 5 matches played. They went 3 sets in a loss to Washington, 3 sets in wins against Brooks and Payton, and then 3-set losses to Northside and Lindblom in their last 2 matches. As we're going to see Sarah Thompson check into the game for Brooke Anderson before we get going here. So it will be Lane Tech serving to start things off, and looks like we are just about ready for first serve here from Lane Gymnasium. It'll be Catherine Hong leading things off for Lane Tech. She sends this one over, and we're underway, and this one misplayed off the hands of Avila, and an early 1-0 lead here for Lane Tech. I guess that will officially count as an ace for Hong, who gets her 34th of the season. Another one strangely played off the reception from Avila, but the Panthers will get it over the net for the first time here tonight. Anderson gets her first kill on her first try. She had 7 of those last night, and she gets her first one off of her first hit of the night, as Lane Tech off to a nice start in this one, 2-0 over Von Steuben. So 2 straight points off the serve of Hong. This one played far to the left-hand side, but Avila decided to play it. In the front row, this one is somehow played over. It looked like 4 touches there, but the umpires only say 3, and they will give the point to Von Steuben. And they're going to say that was a double there, so Von Steuben gets lucky there. A Lane Tech error gets them their first point of the night here, and it will go to a 2-1 lead here for Lane Tech. Olivia Crane gets her first touch of the night, and a little bit of a miscommunication there between Ahmad and Copenhaver in the front row allows the Panthers to tie it up for the first time here tonight. So an opportunity for Vaughn to take their first lead here. Ahmad goes with the soft touch over, and this one awkwardly played there by Messina, but the Panthers able to play it over. The set to Anderson, 2 for 2 on kills. We saw a couple of softer touches from Claire Anderson, who's going to go back to serve now as the second player in the serve rotation for Lane Tech. She had a couple of soft touches last night against Regina, but she goes for 2 powerful kills to start off this one and has success with both of them, as Lane Tech is going to open up The scoreboard just has 3-1. I believe it's supposed to be 3-2. They're talking things over at the table right now. We'll put it at 3-1 right now, the match what the scoreboard has here at Lane Gymnasium, but Von Steuben may have been cheated out of a point there. And here we go. They're going to move it back to 3-2, so it'll be a 1-point lead for Lane Tech. And now we will get going again. It'll be Claire Anderson serving for Lane Tech. A super strong serve there as the Panthers punch it over. Bush, though, a little too far inside. And Lane Tech will double Von's points here early with a 4-2 lead. Anderson's done a little bit of everything for Lane Tech this year. One of the leaders in digs as this one softly punched over, finds the ground though. Nice touch there by Avila. She had a couple of airs earlier in the game, but finds the ground on this bump, and Von staying in this one early, down 1-4-3. This is kind of what we saw last night, Lane Tech playing against Regina. Lane Tech came in as the favorite. It was tight at the start of the first set, and then Lane Tech took over as Lane Tech will get the point there. A strong block there from Jane McGannon, but a little bit too strong as she sends it all the way past the back line. And we'll see Kinsey Copenhaver back to serve now for Lane Tech. Copenhaver, the middle of 6 servers. This one played awkwardly off the hands of Avila, but they get it over. Bush stumbled into the bench there as Olivia Crane goes with the soft touch, but Bush is there to save it. Again, McGannon fires this one just a little too far inside. That almost hit a couple of the Lane players on the bench. And Lane Tech gets their first 3-point lead of the match. 6-3 here in set number 1. Copenhaver again from the back. That one just barely got over the net, but is able to stay alive. Bush, and we're seeing some strong hits here from Von Steuben, but they are just unable to place them in play right now. That's about the 3rd kill attempt we have seen that have just either gone too far or too far to the left or right for Von Steuben here tonight. Another one misplayed off the arms of Madalena Avila, the outside hitter. And that's coming to bite the Panthers early. We'll see if Lane Tech keeps serving to her. She's had a little bit of trouble with these receptions early on. 5-point lead for Lane Tech. And same exact thing's going to happen. I think they called it a lift there anyways. They will. So that was not going to be a point either way, even if Von Steuben was able to play it back. But Lane Tech now jumping out to an early 9-3 lead. Lane Tech was hoping to get up to about a 10-point lead, maybe see some of the players who have not had as much playing time get in this one, as McGannon finally gets one in play. That one off the arms of Claire Anderson, and Von Steuben scores for the first time in a while, and we'll see McGannon back to serve now. So she's had some strong touches tonight. We'll see what she can do from her own service. This one flies too far, and that's been the theme so far for the Panthers as Lane Tech quickly gets out to double-digit points, 10-4 here. And at this point, it's looking to be a quick match for Lane Tech, at least here in set 1. So we'll see Addison Stoner come into the game. Stoner had probably the best all-around game of any Lane player last night. She had 3 aces, 3 digs, and 7 assists. She's 2 assists away from getting to the 100 mark on the season. We'll see if she can get that here tonight. As her first serve, Bush able to dig it out on the reception. Avila softly touches it over, and Lane Tech will look to reset. Crane from the far side hits the back row, finds an open spot there. All 3 of the players in the back row for Von Steuben were playing quite shallow, and we'll see an early timeout called here by the Panthers. They had their 3 players at the net. There was a little bit of room in between the 2 lines, but all 3 of the players were about a good 5 or 6 feet in front of the back row, and a good job there by Crane to locate those openings and finds it for an easy first kill of the night. That is her team leading 87th kill of the year. It's kind of a race right now between Crane and Claire Anderson to see who's going to finish the season with more kills. It was Anderson through the first couple of games, then Crane has had it for about the last week or so. Currently it stands at 87 for Crane and 78 for Anderson. So both of them are having very strong seasons. And It's shown early here tonight with 3 of the 11 points scored coming via those 2 players. As both the teams used the whole minute of the timeout called there by Von Steuben, and now both teams will break their huddles. It's going to be, I believe, Lane Sack serve here. Yes, it will be. It'll be Stoner's second serve. She had a couple of really good serve rotations last night against Regina. A 2-set win for Lane Sack. As this one played to the back row just goes a little too far, and the Panthers will get it back. So according to Max Reps, this Von Steuben team has only played 5 games all year long, only conference matchups. Their first non-conference games are going to come this weekend, but they just do not have a lot of experience, as that one was a weird roll around the net across the top, ends up going out. So a lucky point there by Von Steuben, but you do not see that a lot in volleyball. As the Panthers get within 5 now, we'll see Bush back to serve for the Panthers. Anderson with her first kill attempt of the night. That's Brooke Anderson, we should mention, as she gets it down, and will go to a 12-6 lead for Lane Sack. They've been able to capitalize. Every time they give the ball back to Von Steuben, it seems like the Panthers are only serving once or maybe twice. They've not let Von serve a lot here tonight, as we'll see Maddie Gavelden, the number 5 server tonight for Lane Sack, get her first attempt of the night, and this one played awkwardly off the arms of Madalena Avila, who's one of the better outside hitters for this team, but continuing to have some struggles here early on with these receptions. Lane Sack's noticed that and has been serving a lot here. We'll see if Gavelden does the same thing. She doesn't. Instead goes middle to the libero, who's into the game for the first time tonight. Stoner. Now Wild. Cross court off the arms there of McGannon. McGannon looked not happy after that one. I think she realized it was probably going to go out of bounds on the cross court kill attempt. It doesn't. And instead, Lane Sack goes up by 8. They're nearing the 10-point margin here. And an ace there from Maddie Gavelden. The libero number 2, Anahi Mendoza, just ducked under that one. And an easy point for Lane Sack, who take their lead to 9 here in set number 1. Again from Gavelden. This one, reception from Avila. They're able to keep it alive. A nice attempt there by the Panthers defensively to stay, and Anderson, Brooke Anderson, will get her second kill of the night. Brooke Anderson has been very effective in that front line these last couple of games. She was just, the first couple of games, she was leading the team in blocks, and as of recent, she's been one of the team leaders in kills, I'd say. Don't have the statistics for the last week. I only have them for last night and this season, but she's been very impressive these last couple of games for Lane Sack, as we do have the scoreboard just went out here at Lane Gymnasium. Now they're going to power it back on. A 16-6 lead for Lane Sack here in set number 1. These two schools not separated by a lot geographically. A pretty quick drive over from Von Steuben they had here this afternoon. A nice play there from Kainen. And Lane Sack able to respond quickly, though, as unable to dig it out there was number 24, Cadesta Manuel, who gets one of her first touches of the night. And Lane Sack off to their biggest lead here in set number 1, 11 now, 17-6. Avila gets it over. We'll see a back set. Wild goes cross court. Seen Campbell Wild do that twice now. She doesn't have as much success here. And Panthers just forced to bump it over. Anderson tried to tip that one to the back row. No success there. And we'll see a little bit of a rally here. Claire Anderson from the far pin. Unsuccessful block there. It was timed perfectly for Von Steuben, but just an awkward angle off the hands of 2 of their defenders. And we're going to see another timeout called here by Von Steuben, as Lane Sack takes an 18-6 lead in this one. And this is turning into exactly what you want to see if you are the Lane Sack coaching staff. Last night, Lane Sack was favored similarly to how they were in this game, but neither of the sets were complete blowouts. In the first one, it was close through the first 20 points or so before Lane Tech pulled out a 25-17 lead, and then they were win in set 1. And then in set 2 last night, Lane Tech was dominant through the start, but Regina at the end was slowly crawling back. It ended up just being a 6-point second set win for Lane Tech. So Lane Tech has had some troubles with truly dominating against teams they're supposed to win against. And tonight, it seems like that might be changing as Lane Tech takes an 18-6 lead here in set number 1. Trying to see quickly the biggest set they have won in conference here yet. Don't know if they've had any times this season where they've kept an opponent to single digits. They were kept to single digits in 1 against Glenbard West, but they were on the losing side of that. On the winning side, I don't think they have yet. So the lowest I'm seeing is keeping an opponent to 11 points. We'll see if they can break that here as Anderson and Wild get the double block in the front row. They'll get their second double block there, and Anderson almost there for the kill attempt. She gets her third double block, this time with Claire Anderson, and Lane Tech goes up 19-6. That front row for Lane Tech just going up and down and up and down and up and down there, and they're finally able to get the point as we'll see the first subs of the game. One of the first subs of the game here for Lane Tech come in the form of Olivia Sprinkle and Rocky Ortiz. Ortiz coming in as a middle hitter, Sprinkle as an outside hitter here for Lane Tech. Both of them will be in the front row for this rotation. It was Claire Anderson and Brooke Anderson, both the Andersons who checked out there. 19-6, 13-point lead for Lane Tech. Avila punches it over, but Gavaldon there to dig it out. Front set, Sprinkle on her first kill attempt, unable to get it down. McGannon there for the save, and they'll be forced to punch it over with their libero. Back set here. Ortiz almost gets her first kill of the night, but unable to. Now Stoner to Sprinkle. Sprinkle finds the easy shot. And that one just looked like a couple of Von Steuben players were kind of tired. It was a long point. And Sprinkle goes for the soft kill and gets it. And I believe that should be Stoner's 99th assist of the year. As we mentioned, leading into this broadcast, she's very close from the 100 mark. Lane's been hitting that 100 mark in a couple of statistical player categories. Last night, libero Heidi Stauber got her 100th dig as a nice block here off the hands of Ortiz and Campbell Wild. And Lane Tech now up by 15. They're just 4 points away from a first set victory in about 15 minutes or so, possibly even less. I think we start around 6:30 as this one just unexpectedly came to the hands of Sarah Thompson. She's not ready for that one. And Vaughn will get their first service in quite some time here. Thompson gives it to Stoner. Wild served this one into the net, and one of the first runs of the night we have seen. Back-to-back points here for the Panthers, who are trying to not go down too easily here in the first set. Another serve here. Stoner gives it far side to Sprinkle. She's trying for her second kill, but this one goes a little too far to the outside, and that is 3 straight points here for the Panthers. Might have jinxed it there when talking about Lane Tech trying to hold their opponent to under 10 points in the set for the first time this year, as now that's looking a little less likely. Back set, Wild to the far side. This one goes too far, though, and the Panthers will get to that double-digit mark. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Gymnasium for some Thursday night action. Sprinkle from the far side, and Bush there to save it. Now we'll see McGannon, a weird touch there. She kind of palmed it over. It works. Ortiz with the soft touch, and Vaughn playing a lot better these last couple of points, but McGannon sends this one straight into the net. And it will be a 22-10 lead now for Lane Tech as Copenhagen checks into the game for Ortiz. Thompson back to serve, the 6th server for Lane Tech here in their rotation. Looks like they might get through this set in just one rotation as Wild unable to find the ground there on the tip. They tried for the block there. Lane's had off and on success with the blocking here in this first set. That one played awkwardly off of Bush, and the kill attempt, that was blocked. There was contact, so They will get the point. Madalena Avila with the kill. Their head coach, Eli Estrada, said she was one of the more solid outside hitters on this team, and we see that here on that hit as the Panthers get within 11 here, 20-11 in the first set. And they're going to give the point to Lane Sack. I believe they're going to call out of rotation here. They will. And we'll see Catherine Hong check into the game along with Amina Ahmad. So it will take Lane Sack at least 7 servers here in the first set. They won't quite do it in just 6. But we saw Hong get 3 straight points to start off this match. We'll see if she can close out the set with 2. She closed out the first set yesterday on her serve, so it'd be similar here for Lane Sack as an awkward set there goes a little too short, and the ball handling there, air there, gives the Panthers back the ball 23-12, a trail. So definitely some signs of momentum here for the Panthers. As Ahmad soft tipped over, and this one goes outside. So I was emailing with head coach Eli Estrada for the Panthers. He's not here tonight. They have an interim coach, Coach Doherty, coaching, but Estrada had the most information on the team, so I was asking him a few questions as this one softly hit over by Copenhagen. And basically what he was saying is this team for Von Steuben does have a lot of skill. The main problem for them this season has just been the consistency, which is something we see here. They've not been very consistent at all here in the first set. We'll see if they can turn that around in the second set as Sprinkle serve gets played back. Front line block there from Copenhagen and Crane. Crane from the far side, unable to find the ground. Match point here for Lane Sack. Thompson able to save it. Hong sets it a little too far back though. Crane just has to bump it over. McGannon, and blocked on the front row by Crane and Copenhagen. Looked like it was going out. McGannon decided to try to keep it alive. Doesn't work there, and Lane Sack will get a 25-13 first set victory. A very convincing first set for Lane Sack as they roll to a 12-point win over Von Steuben. We'll see if they can do it again in the second set. We'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Sack Girls Volleyball here on the Lane Sack Athletics YouTube channel. Back here from Lane Gymnasium, a 25-13 first set victory for the champions. It gives them an early lead in this best of 3 Thursday night contest between Lane Sack and the Von Steuben Panthers. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Lane Sack broke their huddle very, very early. They did not even use half of the break they were given, as it will be Catherine Hong, Kinsey Copenhagen, Claire Anderson, Brooke Anderson, Amina Ahmad, and Olivia Crane here, the 6 on the court to start off this second set for Lane Sack, though it looks like Sarah Thompson's going to probably check into the game as it starts. We did get a quick correction there on our roster for the Panthers in the break there. Number 26, who we have been saying has had such a good game, Jane McGannon. She's not actually number 26. It's number 23 on our roster, Mercy Oseyemi, who's been very impressive here tonight. It's actually going to be her wearing the number 26 jersey here tonight for the Panthers. So we'll see if Mercy and this Von Steuben team can make a little bit of a comeback here in the second set. As we mentioned, they have gone to 3 sets every single match of the season, so they're trying to keep that trend going, which would mean they are contending in this matchup. Their head coach Eli Estrada said one of the problems with this team has been they've had their highlights of the year, but they've really just been playing to the other team's strengths. They've been letting the other team kind of control the matches, and that is what we saw there in the first set. But we saw Von Steuben take a little bit of control there in the last 10-15 points of that first set, so we'll see if they can do that more so here in the second set, possibly to lead them to a win. As the horn blows here at Lane Gymnasium, and we should be ready to go here for set number 2. Thompson's going to check in for Brooke Anderson to start off this second set. And it should be the Panthers' serve to start off this set number 2. They're also going to check in their libero, number 2, Anahi Mendoza, who's been the libero, but we have not seen a lot of touches from her tonight. It's been kind of a quiet night for both of the liberos. We've seen more touches from Thompson than from Mendoza, but nothing much from either of those two here early in this match, as this one goes off the tape on the serve, and Claire Anderson sends this one a little too far, trying for the cross-court kill, and Lane Tech will will drop the first point of this set. Lane Tech only trailed at the 3-2 mark of the first set, then they really dominated, so we'll see if that was a similar storyline here, as Ahmad bumps this one over. And they're going to call a net violation, it looks like, here off the attempt there from number 8, Jacqueline Messina. We did not see a lot of her in that first set. However, she gets an early touch here as Catherine Hong goes to serve for the 3rd time here today. Had a nice service rotation the first time. Had some troubles her second time, as they're going to give the point to Von Steuben, and they're going to call a lift, it looks like, here from Lane Tech. Did not see it there, but the referees call it, and Von gets their second lead of the set, 1-0, and now 2-1 here over the champions in set number 2. Mendoza back to serve, sends this one straight to Thompson, and Copenhaver there for the easy kill. Hong was there to set it, and they're going to give it to Lane Tech. Excuse me, they're going to give the point to Von Steuben. I was looking down at our score tracker there, so I didn't see what the referees called. Possibly a net violation, but either way, we'll go to a 3-1 lead now here for the Panthers. Claire Anderson tries to softly put it over, and Oseyemi almost has the point, and instead they're going to give it to Lane Tech. They call a lift on the Panthers now. So I think we've seen more points now in this second set given by the whistle than actual play. So some sloppy play out of both the teams to start off this second set. We'll see which team can recover quicker. Avila gives it. Thompson there to dig it out. Crane with her first kill attempt of the second set, but Bush is there to save it. And on the near side, Avila just hits that one into the ground. And Lane Tech will knock this one up 3-3, and it'll be Claire Anderson trying to give the champions their first lead here of the second set. This one played awkwardly off the arms of Bush, but the Panthers able to recover. Crane goes with the two-hand touch. Panthers will see if they can recover, and they can. Another kill attempt there, and an excellent block there in the front row. Looked like that was off the hands of Emmanuel. And this is what we were saying. This Von Steuben team, they've come alive in a couple of sets this year to force third sets, and that is what they are doing here as Maddie Gavilan checks into the game for Claire Anderson. And looks like Von Steuben playing more like their second half of the first set selves than how they looked in the first half of the first set. As Ahmad goes for the cross-court kill. Has some interesting spin to that touch. as Thompson will check out of the game for the first time this set, and Copenhagen will be back to serve, her second time serving this afternoon. 4-4, all knotted up here at Lane Gymnasium between Von Steuben and Lane Tech. Lane hasn't had more than a 1-point lead here in the second set, and another kind of snake eyes set there, puts it over the net, but Lane Tech able to recover. Anderson with the kill to the back row that almost hit the line. We'll see who they give the point to, and they give it to the Panthers. That one looked like it was anyone's guess whether it hit that last line or not. Referees are going to say it goes just a little too far, and they will give the point to the Panthers, who once again take a 1-point lead here in set number 2. Hong with the back set. Ahmad trying for another kill. And a nice save there by Avila to keep this alive. Anderson gets blocked at the net. Nice play there by Emmanuel. Third kill attempt of the points goes to Olivia Crane, who closes the door and knots this one up at 5. We'll see 2 players making their debuts of this match in the form of Maggie O'Brien and Josie Bietti, 2 juniors who will come into play here in the second set of action. So even though this one is pretty close, they're still going with some of the younger players here for the second set against Vaughn. O'Brien's first serve goes in, and this one goes into the net off the hands of Bush. Probably wouldn't have had much luck even if it went over the net with that tall front line of Bietti, who's 5'10", and Anderson, who's listed at 6 foot. O'Brien serves to the middle of the court. Anderson almost had a spike there, but unable to finish it. Bush, that one probably went off the top of her fingers based on how that one landed, and goes too short, and Lane Tech up to a 7-5 lead. So nice start to the serving rotation here for O'Brien. We'll see if she can get her 3rd point off the serve. Received by the libero Mendoza. Bush with more success there, but they're going to call a violation here, net violation, to give the point to Lane Tech. So Lane Tech struggled through the first 10 points or so, but now with a 3-point lead, their biggest of the set, and they're still rolling. O'Brien from the back line for the 4th time. That one was played off the ceiling. We talked about this last night, but so many of these balls hit the ceiling at Lane Tech, and Anderson gets the point off the set from O'Brien, and we're going to see a timeout called here by Von Steuben. So the Lane Tech offense rolling after a couple of substitutions. They're up to 4 here in set number 2, and they're playing exactly how we saw them play in that first set. So it's interesting, when we were talking with head coach Norman Kwong from this Lane Tech team, he said in this later half of the season, you know, Lane Tech's getting closer to the city playoffs, eventually the state playoffs later in October. They're going to be focused on having the best players on the court at all time, changing the energy if a player ever needs to get substituted out, and we saw that there. They were in a close game, 5-5. They send in 2 juniors who had not played yet this game, and after that, 4 straight points to give Lane Tech the lead, and it seems to be working here for Lane Tech, as they're going to break their huddle with about 20 seconds to go in this timeout. We have only seen timeouts called by the Panthers, I believe. I didn't quite see who the second one was called by in that first set, but based on the momentum of the game, I assumed it was called by the Panthers. So 3 timeouts called here through the first 1.5 sets, approximately, probably more like 1 1/3. As O'Brien will be back to serve, up 9-5 here. Gavlin, Thompson, Crane, Bietti, and Anderson, your other 5 on the court, as this one goes into net. And the Panthers will finally get their serve back. Checking into the game will be Jacqueline Messina for Vaughn, and Emmanuel will serve from the exact middle of the court. You don't see that much here, as Bietti tries for her first kill attempt, can't get it. 9-6 lead for Lane Tech. O'Brien thought about the set, instead just punches it over, and that's a move we've seen from Vaughn a couple times today. Has not worked against Lane. Lane decides to do it against Vaughn and gets it to work. We'll see Olivia Crane now back to serve. Lane Tech has changed up their serve order a little bit here. Crane was not serving in the first set, as this one played awkwardly off the arms of Avila. Nice move by one of the managers, it looks like, on the bench for Von Steuben, who moved his chair to get out of the way of play, but it doesn't work out, as Lane Tech will still finish with the point, up by 5 now, 11-6 in set number 2. Crane for the second time serving, and trying to get the reception there was Bush, but it will be a reception error. And Lane Tech now up by 6, their biggest lead here in set number 2. Lane Tech looking just as good with this new order, both of rotation and serving here, as we saw them play in the first set, which is exactly what you want to see. Anderson from the far pin can't get it down. Bush has had some trouble with her kill attempts here tonight, but she'll find this one. Went off the fingertips of that frontline blocking duo for Lane Tech, but is still able to find the ground for the block. And it will go to a 12-7 lead now for Lane Tech. Just a 5-point lead now for the champions, as the Panthers look for a little comeback and to force a set number 3 here from Lane Gymnasium. Crane with the set. Yeti forced to just bump it over. And Bush was there trying to kind of punch it over with her fist, but has no success there. There was no one else really there to keep the play alive. As we'll see, Kinsey Copenhaver check into the game for Brooke Anderson. Claire Anderson again. They'll give the point to to Von Steuben off of a double there. Did not see where that would have possibly come from, but the referees will see they saw double contact there and give the point to the Panthers, who are sticking in this one. 13-8 right now the score, so they're staying in about that 5-point range as Bush plays this one to the middle of the court. Yeti tries for kill attempt number 3, still unable to find the ground on any of those, as this one played a little too low into the net by Jacqueline Messina to give Lane Tech back their service here. We'll see Catherine Hong and Amina Ahmad check into the game, as O'Brien and Bietti take a seat on the bench, but a nice couple of points for those two who come in during set number 2 here for Lane Tech. Hong plays this one cross court. Bush got the reception, but her ball goes all the way back to the Lane Tech side, and nice blocking attempt there from Oseemi, but goes a little too far to the right-hand side off her hands, and Lane Tech will go up by 7 now here, who are once again establishing their dominance in this match. Reception played high off the arms of Mendoza there, and they're going to say a net violation here by Lane Tech. Gives the Panthers back the ball. Lane Tech has not been able to build that same momentum that we saw at the midway point of set number 1. They still have a comfortable lead in this one, as Mendoza with a nice serve there. Crane tries for the cross-court kill, and that one just way too powerful for Mendoza to get any clean reception off of. And Lane goes up by 7 here once again in set number 2. And we'll see if Claire Anderson can get a couple of points, maybe get Lane to that 20-point mark. And she gets an ace. An excellent serve there is interesting. You really do not, sometimes you see in these high school games I've seen players clumped in the middle. You don't usually see no one in the middle. And Anderson saw that and decides to go with the medium serve and gets the ace. Bush almost let that one go, instead decides to play it. Crane blocked again off the arms of Oseami, who's been timing her blocks excellent there, but they've been going just off some strange angles as Lane Tech takes a 9-point lead, and the Panthers will call their second timeout here of this second set. So Lane Tech playing as well as we have seen them play at home this season. They enter tonight's matchup with a 2-2 home record. they win tonight, this will be their first time with an over 500 record at home this season, because they fell in their first and third matches. So they were 0-1, they got to 1-1, then they fell to 1-2. Last night they tied it up with a 500 record at 2-2, but they've yet to get over that 500 mark, and looks like they are well on their way to doing that here tonight, as both teams will break their huddles about 15 seconds early of the 1-minute timeout. These timeouts in volleyball at the high school level, they're very quick. They keep the pace of the game going quite fast, as Bush there for the reception. Oseami plays it, but Anderson there to keep it alive. Crane goes for the soft touch, and flying out of nowhere there to try and keep it alive was Rachel Kayunin, who was able to get some strong contact in it, a little bit too strong, as Lane Tech will get a double-digit lead for the first time here tonight, 19-9. Off of Anderson's serve here, Thompson gives it to Hong. Hong back set. Copenhagen unable to finish it there. Once again, Thompson somehow saves it, and Lane Tech will be unable to put it over the net. It just seemed like the ball was falling wherever Lane Tech wasn't on that cycle, as Maddie Gavaldon will check into the game. Serve here by number 26, Mercy Oseami. Head coach Eli Estrada said she's very dynamic, very athletic, very fun to watch on this team, but her serve's going to go into the net as Brooke Anderson checks into the game for Sarah Thompson after a nice run there by the libero Thompson. And Copenhagen will be back to serve. Lane gave up 13 in set number 1. We'll see if they can go lower than that here in set number 2. And a nice play there by number 10, Rachel Kayunin, who we're calling her name a lot more in these last couple of minutes. She's had a couple of nice plays, strong touches of it, and the Panthers will get within 9. Hong sets it far side to Crane. The Panthers have done a good job of stopping a few of these kill attempts here from Lane Tech, as this one from Ahmad just goes a little too far, and the Panthers slowly cutting into this one, up by 8 now. We'll see a substitution come into the game. That's going to be Destiny Nino coming in for number 11, Sophia Bush. Bush had an excellent game, and that might be all we see of her tonight if Lane Tech's able to close this one out. Crane goes with the soft touch once again over those front 2 blockers and finds the ground to get Lane Tech back their service, up by 9 and 4 points away from a 2-set sweep. We'll see the juniors, O'Brien and Vietti, check into the game again. We saw O'Brien score, I believe, 4 straight points her first serve. She hasn't played as much as some of the other players on the team, but when she has been an excellent server. She's actually second in the team, on the team, in aces per set. As she'll set this one for Crane. Crane to the back row, finds the ground. And 2 straight points here for Lane Tech, who are now 3 away from closing this one out. A very impressive performance from Lane Tech here on this this Thursday evening. Definitely one of the more complete games we have seen from Lane Tech, especially at home this year. Olivia Sprinkle into the game here for Olivia Crane. A swap of the Olivias there as O'Brien plays this one towards the middle. 22-12, Lane Tech the lead. Thompson decided to play that. I think it would have been going out, but Thompson didn't see where her feet were, and the Panthers will get the point. Cut this to a 9-point lead. They're just trying to make a little run maybe here. Might be a little too late, but always nice to get some late points in a match, as Sprinkle goes for the soft touch. Somehow dug out there by Emmanuel, though, and the Panthers will keep the point alive. Nice play there by Vaughn. Sprinkle goes with the soft touch, too. O'Brien with the back set to Brooke Anderson. We almost always see her play from the center. She was from the right side there, and they're going to give the point to Lane Tech. We'll see what the call is, and they're going to call the double on one of these Vaughn players. As Lane goes back up 10, and we'll see if they can finish it off the serve of Olivia Sprinkle. Claire Anderson into the game for Maddie Gavelden. Sprinkle's first serve played to the back. Keep it alive, but an awkward hit there from Nino, one of her first hits of the night. And Lane Tech with match point here, up 1-0, trying to win their third straight game this week. We'll see if they can do it off the serve of Olivia Sprinkle. Gets it over. See if the Panthers can have a successful return. An interesting hit there from Nino to keep it alive. O'Brien to Anderson. She started the game for kill. Wasn't able to end it with one there. And for some reason, catching the ball there was Destiny Nino. Maybe she thought she heard a whistle or something. Either way, it's going to give the point to Lane Tech. Kind of a strange ending to this one, but it's going to be a 25-13, 25-13 win for Lane Tech. Goes with the same score in both of the two sets, and just a dominating victory here from Lane Tech here. That's exactly what you want to see. If you are a Lane Tech fan, they get to 4-2 on this conference year. We didn't even have time to talk about the big game in the public league tonight. Jones and Whitney Young playing at, probably they're still going right now. That's a battle of the 5-0s, but Lane Tech looks to get control of that third spot in the public league conference. It'll be a big one next week when Lane Tech faces off against Payton, who's also 3-2, looking to get to 4-2 on the conference season. But an all-around victory here from Lane Tech. They lead from the start against Von Steuben, a convincing win in set number 1, and unlike some past games they've had at home, it's a complete victory in set number 2. No late scares from the opposition as Lane Tech gets back to 500, 10-10 on the year. Lane Tech will be back in action on Saturday as they compete in the Northside Invitational, games against Northside, Mather, Von Steuben, Niles West, and Payton. Then they'll be back on the road in conference play on Tuesday against the Payton College Prep Grizzlies in a conference matchup. The first one against Payton is just a tournament matchup, and then finally we'll be back on the call here for their next home game against Fenwick at 6 p.m. on Wednesday before their senior night against Northside on Thursday. So things starting to slow down in the regular season for Lane Tech, but this is exactly the type of performance you want to see out of them. They get the 2-0 win over the Von Steuben Panthers. But that's just about all the time we're going to have here tonight. Your final score from Lane Gymnasium: Lane Tech 2, Von Steuben 0. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.